And we are live. Cool. So excited about this one. It's been a couple of weeks since I've been live online streaming, doing this live design streaming sessions. So I'm super excited about this one. Thank you so much for joining us. So if you're new here and we're just meeting, my name is Verma Henry. I am your host for the Do Better UX Design streaming sessions. And I'm also the host, the founder of DoBetterUXDesign.com, the website itself, where we take a no BS approach to helping you kickstart your UX design career wherever you are in the world. We try and bring you things that we've tried over the years, and when I say we've, I mean myself and other people within our community. We've got a fantastic growing community over on our LinkedIn. If you just look up Do Better UX, you should be able to find us. You'll find our website and other things that we have out there. Super excited to be here. I want to believe that the audio and everything is perfect. If you are in the chat is open. If you're watching us live, the chat is open. So please feel free to engage with us, ask questions, send us any comments that you might have. And if you're watching this after the fact, so after the live show, if you're watching the replay, you can use the comment section below to engage with us or join us on any of our social media channels, really, to be able to interact with us. So that is it, really. So the chat is open for questions if you want to interact with us there. And thank you so much for joining us for this live streaming session. We are always keen to find out where you're joining us from, as well as where all of our people that we actually reach in the communities that we're impacting are from. So please say hello and let us know where you're joining from if you're watching this live. I see that there are a couple of people on the live stream right now. So feel free to interact with us throughout the session as we go. You might see me looking in this direction, you might see me looking in this direction. Just try to monitor everything and make sure that everything is on the go. Before we start, I hope that you had a super awesome Easter holiday and you really enjoyed yourself. If you're with family or by yourself, I hope that you really had an awesome time in this really trying time, still trying to deal with the coronavirus. Is still a reality in our world, and these type of online interactions will be going on for some while. So why don't we really get back into it and really punch a hole into making an impact into your design career. I see that there are more people joining us, so if you're just joining us, the chat is open. Feel free to engage with us as we go through the topic that we have today. So without wasting more time, let me get right into it. So today we are talking about a topic that has that we've received a lot of questions on within our community and personally within some of the people that I coach. It's also a topic that I've seen a lot of people create content around on the internet and questions being asked as well around this specific topic. And the topic is UX design dead? Is UX design dying? Should I be getting into UX design? Is it something that I should be focusing on in my career to get into UX design at this moment? There's a lot of big titles like, the UX gold rush is over, the UX is dying, etc., etc. So I want to take a deep dive into this topic today and really explore some of my personal perspective and some of the knowledge wisdom that I've gathered on the internet over the past couple of days, really trying to figure out what are the different takes and why is it a trending thing that UX is dead. So the short answer is yes, the terrible parts of UX are dying, and I think that's a good thing, really. And the really strong parts of UX are evolving into something that is better. So if you've looked around on the internet, if you're somebody who's getting into UX design, you might have come across the popularity of the title product designer rather than UX designer, which really focuses on a similar set of things when it comes to actually doing UX design, but it's slightly different from the traditional UX designer that we've seen over the past 12-15 years, that we have seen UX design from the times of the early iPhone, where this really became popular, from the time that companies like Google, Uber, and Airbnb, some of the people who've done some really innovative stuff because of design, have brought design, UX design as as a trend, really, that we have come to know up to this day as it is. So there's a lot of interesting things that have been happening in the UX design world over the past 12 to 15 years, and it has really come a long way. There's a lot of processes and methodologies and things that have come up, that have died off, that have become trends, and some of them really became like, we started seeing the BS through the processes and how so not effective they are in the real world, as we have come to evolve ourselves as users of digital products within this digital age that we're living in. Everybody knows these days, what sort of like a good app feels like. Even if you're not a designer and you're just a consumer, you're somebody who is just consuming the product, we kind of know what's good or bad, right? So if you have a customer, whether it's a startup environment or whether it's really a corporate that's looking into a specific product, there is always a good idea of expectations really on how a good user journey should be like. So most of the stuff that the early UX design gurus used to bring to the table as a lot of value has become general common knowledge to this day, that everybody really knows how a product should look and feel like, and if it's a sign up journey, how should they do it. There's different options, being able to sign up with Google. Of course, there's different levels of people and how they use different products out there. There are people who are a little bit more knowledgeable around digital products, and there are some who are not so much. People who just don't interact with social media or any digital products at all, and that's okay. But we've started to see more and more people really being, starting to know what a good UX experience is, and even know what the word user experience is. Like, we find a lot of people these days saying that, the user experience of this thing is not so good. So the knowledge of what user experience design is has really evolved into the mainstream hands of the user, really, over the past 12-15 years, since UX was really a thing and was coined by the early days of Don Norman and some of the design gurus that were there back in the day. So where does that leave us now, right? As UX designers, am I trying to say that anybody can be a UX designer? Everybody's a UX designer. People know that what a good user experience design is, and that's it. Well, no, not really. I think there's still a lot of valuable parts of UX design that we can still look at and still really drive good value for the people that we serve, our clients as UX designers. And those are some of the things like, doing user research, proper user research, right? Doing user testing to sort of like validate our ideas and, unpack what the problem and the solution could be or look like, getting real insights from the user, direct feedback, and that, most of those things around user testing and user research are still really valuable parts of UX design, but there's a lot of bullshit parts of UX design that are dying. And I myself, as a UX designer, as I've seen the value of UX over the years sort of like deteriorate when it comes to what the industry has been offering people, I would go almost as far as offering people in on almost dishonest fashion, really, to be able to escalate the prices that they're charging, as well as elongate the process itself, just by bringing more filler and fluff really into the process that doesn't really add value. And some of the things that we've seen die over the past couple of years is things like personas and other research that it's not really user, or it's not really speaking to the customer. It's not the customer giving us feedback, but it's we've seen the persona. I'm just going to use the persona as an example here, but there's also a lot of methodologies and things that we've seen become, I would almost say, obsolete over the years. Of course, some people are still using them now as fillers and just trying to charge more money for the projects that they are on. But those things don't really bring value. Instead, they actually just bring more friction into the process of actually getting the product into customers' hands. So over the past couple of years, as my career became more delivery focused, really focusing on putting the product in customers' hands, I've grown less and less fond of methodologies. Again, I'm going to go back to the persona thing. And we create personas out of just context of us, not really from any user research data. And those things are never really used. We understand that, we traditionally thought that they'll bring empathy, but over the years, we've really seen that people don't use personas. We sort of like create them and stick them on the wall and continue with creating the user journeys that we're creating and focusing on the real things that we're actually supposed to be focusing on. So why create the extra friction and fluff in things like those type of methodologies? And if you have listened to any of the podcast material, Not a UX Designer, that's the name of the podcast. If you listen to any of the podcast material, we've explored a very cool process that I'm fond of personally, called the design sprint. You might know it. The design sprint is really a good process and methodology, or rather recipe, that really helps cut most of the design fluff that we've seen come over the years, like some of the empathy creating exercises, personas, and things like that. That really spend more and more hours and create more and more meetings that any value or any empathy really that we claim that these things should be bringing onto the table. So yeah, there has been a lot of things that have evolved over the years, and as more and more customers have come to figure out, okay, this is how things are supposed to work, there's really a big need and a big drive of jumping right into the work and really core problems that we typically have on any product or any project that we're working on, taking out most of the fluff and the filler work that is usually sold by some of really the industry leading agencies out there that bring a different level of insight some of these things worked off the years, but really, clients started seeing through the bullshit that these filler processes bring. So, going back to the question, is UX design dead? Well, definitely not. We're definitely seeing more and more demand of product designers, UX design researchers, and other parts and facets of the UX design world. Really specialized roles and people that are focusing on specific aspects of the UX design process itself. So definitely we're starting to see not more of UX design dying, but I would rather say more of a balance of the important parts really being identified and the not so important parts sort of like being pushed out. It's almost like natural selection going on, and most of these things are just really being pushed out of the ecosystem and how everything works. So it's exciting for some people, and it's really terrible for some people who have been sort of like being in the snake oil type of bandwagon, selling all these filler processes and not really, pushing out the essential things that people will get value from, or companies will get value from, or their customers will get value from rather. So it's really important for somebody like me to see this evolving happening, and I think that's where most of the talk around UX design is dead has been coming from. Obviously UX design is not dead, it's just the terrible parts of it that are dying really, and it is really a good thing. If you were to ask me on how everything is evolving and how we're really getting into the world of how everything works. So it's super interesting around how we've seen the role of the UX designer evolve. Now we are starting to see why that role has been evolving and what are the things that the UX designer is actually expected to do, which is more of, filtering out. So we see a lot more, designer roles on platforms like LinkedIn and other job sites that really specify what the clients think that UX design is. So they sort of like go in there and filter out the different parts of UX design that they are not finding so useful, and leave out really the parts of UX design that add a lot of value to them, which is something interesting that we've seen coming through over the past couple of years, and we've had clients really dictating, right, okay, so this is what UX design offers, and how do we really get the most value out of this. And that has been the hiring process and the evolving part of the hiring process. If you've looked at how the role has been evolving over the years, there's really been that aspect of customers knowing what value they're getting and tweaking the jobs and the roles to the specific things that they're actually looking for, and it's natural selection, really, if you want to look at it that way. We are seeing all the bad stuff being pushed out and all of the good stuff just staying behind and being pushed out. So that's my answer to the question, is UX design dead? Is UX design dying? Should you be getting into UX design? Is this a good time to be getting into UX design? Certainly, yes. The answer is yes. You should be getting into UX design. I think it's an awesome time to be getting into UX design as a UX design person myself, I've been in this field for the past 10 to 15-ish years, if you count sort of like some of the freelance years that I've put down. And it's been a really exciting journey to be here where, we've seen the UX designer role evolve, and, now we're starting to see what UX design, the depth of UX design really is, and starting to see the value surface and all of the other sort of like bullshit stuff tremble down and sort of like get filtered out of the process. So super excited about that. So should you be getting into UX design right now? I think it's definitely a perfect time, but there's a lot of content that is absolute out there on the internet, and the content that we're building here on this channel and on our website as well as our podcast is really to try and help you filter out what are some of the things that you should be focusing on. We're not going to try and we know everything, but we're really going to point you in the direction of what are some of the things that we've seen work, what are some of the things that we're seeing starting to work, just like what you're discussing in this conversation right here. So if that sounds like something that you might be interested in hearing more about, finding out more about, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Hit that ring bell icon thing so that you actually get notified when we go live, hopefully weekly from now on. As we have seen over the past couple of weeks, it has been really hard for us to go live, but we're back in the system now. We're back into really churning out more content for you, trying to really help you kickstart your UX design career. So by saying that brings us to the end of today's live streaming session. I hope you found a lot of value out of this, and if you have and you'd like to interact with more of our content, as I've mentioned earlier, part of the live stream, but if you're watching this after the fact, it's probably not a big issue. Our website will be live, so go over to dobetterux.com. There you will be able to find links to our podcast, some of our latest design career insights on our blog, as well as latest updates on upcoming events that we'll be doing, as well as engaging with our design community over on LinkedIn. So until next week, or maybe this Saturday, we're looking forward to do a portfolio review on Saturday. So maybe we'll catch you again on Saturday. So until the next one, I'm your host, Farmer Henry, and hope to see you again. Ciao.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can